Welcome back to Final Trade, another episode of Premodern Power, this time featuring one of the most overpowered and unbalanced cards in Magic's history, the ironically named Balance. So the way this thing works is, when you play it, you look around the board and you see who has the fewest lands, and then everybody sacrifices lands until they all have that number. And then you see who has the fewest creatures, and you do the same, and who has the fewest cards in their hand, and you do the same. And so when this came out, I mean, it should make you think, oh, well, it makes everything even in the game. So what could be unbalanced about that? Well, obviously the Rack Balance deck showed us otherwise. What Rack Balance would do was use a lot of artifact mana sources. It would use a lot of lands that it could either sacrifice, or it would use Zuron Orb to just get rid of all its lands. It would play all the cards out of its hand. And then most versions of the Rack Balance deck have no creatures in them. And so the net effect was, when you cast Balance, you would first sacrifice all your lands, so every player would go down to 0 land. You would not have any creatures at all, so every player would go down to 0 creatures. And then you would have a minimum of cards in your hand, so that everybody would have to discard cards. And it would use Cursed Rack to kill the other player, because then they're going to spend time drawing cards and filling up their hand and not being able to play them and taking damage from Cursed Rack every turn. And this became such an unbelievably powerful card in that context that it was restricted from different formats. I mean, even the unofficial pre-modern format bans this card, which is just amazing that it's not even, hey, let's restrict it to 1 copy per deck. It's, we just can't have this. It's just too freaking powerful. And it's just kind of funny that they ended up naming the card Balance, and it is such a wildly unbalanced card. It's if you've never played a Rack Balance deck, Disrupting Scepters and all the Soul Rings and the Basalt Monoliths and all the various artifact mana sources and just all the shenanigans. It's a very interactive deck. It's very fun. Put one together, play with it. Your friends won't like it, but it's really interesting and a lot of fun to play. And I definitely think this is a great card for the Pre-Modern Power series. It's the kind of super powerful cards that were popular back in those days. If you like this kind of thing, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.